His Excellency Jan Hendrik van der Thiel, German Ambassador to Jamaica, Honorable Audrey Sewell, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Dr. Rob Brumbaugh, Executive Director, the Nature Conservancy, Caribbean Division, Mrs. Shanique Alberry Smith, Deputy Director, the Nature Conservancy, Caribbean Division, Ms. Nicola Madden-Gregg, President of the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Organization, Nikki Myers, General Manager, the Alligator Foundation, Donna Blake, TNC Jamaica Program Director, Dr. Tina Dona, Jamaica Project Manager for IKI, representatives of the CoralCarib Project Consortium partners, senior government officials from Jamaica, specially invited guests, CoralCarib Project Management team members, TNC staff, members of the media, our online viewers, a pleasant Jamaican good morning. I said good morning. Thank you, thank you. I know those of you at the Pegasus had a very, at the Courtly rather, had a very healthy breakfast, so I was wondering about the good morning. My name is Cleveland Sam, and I will be your moderator this morning. No other living community has been more important as biological builders since our planet's birth, and that quotation is attributed to Bernard Salvert. The living community as biological builders to which Salvert was referring is coral reefs. And today, the Nature Conservancy and its partners are indeed profoundly happy to welcome you to the launch of the CoralCarib project. Today, it's all about coral reefs. I am sure that throughout the day and in the next few days, for those of you here for the entire meeting, you would hear how this project evolved and eventually came to fruition, thanks to the International Climate Initiative, IKI, an agency of the Federal Ministry for the Environment, Nature Conservation, Nuclear Safety, and Consumer Protection in Germany. My job is to help you navigate through this morning's official launch and to ensure that when you leave this morning, you are pregnant with information about the virtues of coral reefs and the need for us to protect and conserve them. And at this time, I would like to introduce you to someone who knows far more about coral reefs and anything marine related than I would ever do. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Rob Brumbaugh joined the Nature Conservancy in 2014 and is currently the Executive Director of TNC's Caribbean Division. In his almost 20 years with the organization, he has served in several roles, including Senior Marine Scientist for the Florida chapter and Global Ocean Management and Habitat Restoration Lead on the Global Ocean Team. With 25 years of experience in directing multinational conservation programs, Rob excels in partnership development and is a talented leader of globally diverse, high-performing team. Please welcome Dr. Rob Brumbaugh.
Well, good morning again, and thank you for that introduction, Cleveland. I appreciate that very much. And for establishing protocol this morning. I'd like to also once again welcome and acknowledge Senator, the Honorable Matthew Samuda, Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation with responsibility for water, the environment, and climate change, and His Excellency Jan-Hendrik Van Thiel, German Ambassador to Jamaica. Permanent Secretary, Honorable Audrey Sewell, and Minister in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. Shanique Albury-Smith, our Deputy Director. Nicola Madden-Grigg, our partner with the President of the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association. I believe I also saw Karen McDonald-Gale somewhere in the audience here, who is the CEO of the Caribbean Biodiversity Fund, an organization that we are involved with and have been since its inception. Nikki Myers, General Manager of Alligator Head Foundation. Donna Blake, our Jamaica Program Director. Dr. Tina Dona, Project Manager with the International Climate Initiative. Representatives of the CoralCarib Project Management Team and Consortium partners, government officials, invited guests, TNC colleagues and staff and friends, members of the media, welcome. Online viewers as well, welcome all. As the director of the Nature Conservancy's Caribbean Division, it's a distinct pleasure to offer a few introductory remarks and importantly celebrate the start of this important project focusing on coral reefs. I'd like to do something maybe breaking protocol here. I'd like to ask people to raise their hand if they are glad that coral reefs, that they live in a world with coral reefs. If you can, if you're a fan of coral reefs and if you're online, you can like or raise your hand as well. I think it's unanimous. We're all glad we live in a world with coral reefs. It's an important topic for the Nature Conservancy, which is a global organization, conservation organization that works in 79 countries around the world and territories, including 17 here in the insular Caribbean. Our mission is to protect the lands and waters on which all life depends, and all life includes the life in this room. We all depend on nature. Jamaica is a place where we've been working since 1987 in partnership with many others, with the government of Jamaica, to advance conservation. So Jamaica is a fitting place for us to be here today, launching this important project, especially given the country's long history of conservation and its current high-profile membership in the high-level panel on a sustainable ocean. Members of that high-level panel on ocean sustainability have committed to creating sustainable ocean use plans because they recognize the importance of ocean stewardship and maintaining ocean health for economic benefits, for the blue economy that's so important for Jamaica, just like every country that is part of the ocean world that we live in. This project, CoralCarib, has been years in the making. Many people, most people in this room, and many people online have played an enormous role in bringing together the science, the technical expertise, and the creative thinking to actually forge a multinational project that allows us to bring us to this juncture where we are today. It's focused on coral reefs, and it's focused on people as well. 10%, here's some statistics, especially for the media in the room and tuning in, these are useful. 10% of the world's coral reefs are found in the Caribbean. 60% of those reefs are found in the 4 nations that are the focus of this project: Cuba, Dominican Republic, Haiti, and Jamaica. This project is not just any project. This project is a transformational coral conservation project. It is defining fundamentally new, climate-smart ways to advance conservation, restoration, and management across these 4 nations. Coral reefs provide economic benefits that support individuals, communities, and national economies. Reefs make fish. I always told my mother this. My mother never quite understood where my love for the ocean came from. She was a piano teacher and an excellent one. So when I talked to her about being an ocean scientist, and she knew I liked to eat fish, love to eat fish, but I'm not particularly good at catching fish. So I really depend on and appreciate those people who can catch fish and bring it to my plate. So I always told her, reefs make fish. And we know that those fish support local fisheries and the people who are part of those fisheries. These same fish delight tourists who put on a mask and a snorkel and put their face in the water here in Jamaica and elsewhere across the Caribbean. And they are delighted by the color and the diversity of life on the reef that when they see it for the first time or the 1,000th time, in my case. Reefs are called the rainforests of the sea for good reason. 25% of all fish, marine fish in the world, depend on coral reefs. They spend some part of their life on a coral reef. So without reefs, we lose 25%, 1 in 4 fish species in the world, marine fish species. So there's lots of economic reasons to like coral reefs and want them to be in the world and be excited that they're in the world. But there's even more than that. Over the past decade, the Nature Conservancy has worked with the World Bank, the insurance sector, the reinsurance sector, coastal engineers to better understand the important role that reefs play offshore of our coast, standing in the way of storm waves and storm surges. They are critical infrastructure in a world with a changing climate where storms are getting more intense, waves and storm surges are posing an ever greater threat to our communities. So the value of that service in Jamaica alone is $50 million per year in avoided damage and loss. 40,000 people benefit from that avoided damage and loss each and every year, just here in Jamaica. And indeed, the Honorable Prime Minister Andrew Holness mentioned coral reefs specifically in his remarks at the UN Convention on Climate Change at COP26 in 2021. He knows that reefs aren't nice to have, they're necessary to have. And yet we know reefs are challenged by stressors like wastewater, sediment, runoff, nutrient pollution, unsustainable fishing practices. They face regional challenges like coral disease outbreaks that we're dealing with across the Caribbean right now. And they face global challenges like that are linked to climate change, warming ocean temperatures, intensifying storms that I mentioned. They challenge reefs. It would be easy to give up hope and say, what can we do? Reefs are challenged beyond our ability to do anything about them, and yet we know that's not true. If we look carefully, and scientists have looked carefully, corals are showing us something really important, and it's embedded, it's at the core of this project. They are showing us that though they're down, they're not out. Some corals have survived warming waters and seasonal bleaching events caused by elevated ocean temperatures. Some corals have persisted in the face of disease outbreaks. And scientists have discovered that there are specific reefs that demonstrate that kind of resilience. And that word, resilience, is something that should resonate with all of us, given our shared recent pandemic history, the importance of resilience. That is what this project taps into and focuses on. This idea of coral reef resilience isn't especially a new idea. It's been around for a few decades. The Nature Conservancy's Reef Resilience Network has focused on it for quite some time, trying to build capacity, build the science, build the case that if we focus our energy and take care of the most important resilient reefs and take the steps to increase that resilience, and there are local actions we can all take, that is what's going to matter in the next decade for coral reefs. So what is new, though, about this project is our ability to focus in, take high-resolution scientific data, and use that data, those data, to predict specific reefs across the Caribbean that we call Climate Refugia reefs. The reefs where we think reefs, or those locations where reefs have the best chance, especially if we focus our time, energy, and resources on their conservation and stewardship. This project is the first project to put those Climate Refugia data to work. They were published in 2022 in a peer-reviewed paper that many people involved in the design of this project were co-authors on and were contributors to. The fact that that went from peer-reviewed publication in a scientific journal to this day when we are bringing the teams together to move forward is breathtakingly fast. And that's what it needs to be, breathtakingly fast. That's the urgency of the moment. So, let's face it, resources for conservation and management are scarce. The Nature Conservancy is always trying to find new innovative financing mechanisms to unlock new forms of funding to bolster the resources that any given country could bring to bear on its environmental management. But throughout, regardless, we need to use all funds wisely, and that's what this project is really about, targeting the most resilient areas where coral reefs can benefit, as well as the people. This project is an extraordinary example of regional and international collaboration. TNC and its 6 regional partners collaborating across 4 countries to implement a transformational project. We hope not only transform management in these 4 countries, but regionally and even more broadly globally. Fundación Dominicana de Estudios Marinos in the Dominican Republic, Fundación Grupo Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic, Alligator Head Foundation here in Jamaica, Acuario Nacional de Cuba, Haiti Ocean Project, and the Initiative for Environment and Integrated Development in Haiti are our core partners, and we're so proud to be able to work alongside this incredibly talented group of people and organizations. When this project is done, a vast amount of reef area will be improved. The management will be improved. Economic benefits will flow from those improvements. Local communities will be better supported, and we will learn much along the way. Built into this project at every turn is amplification. We're not going to wait to the end to share what we've learned. The partners are going to share what they learn with each other, and we are going to share more broadly with the world what we're learning at every step of the way, because time is of the essence. It is important to take action when actions are clear, and we are so grateful that we can build this coalition, seek and receive support from the German International Climate Initiative to do this kind of work, which is so needed in the world. So despite the challenges, despite the hiccups that may come along the way, I'm more confident and optimistic than ever that this is the right project at the right time with the right set of collaborators. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Dr. Sam to take us further into the morning. Thank you very much for your participation and being here.
Thank you very much, Rob. And as I promised, you learned quite a bit about the project in Rob's presentation. A coral reef cannot be properly described. It must be seen thoroughly to be appreciated. And that quote is attributed to Sidney Hickson from since 1889. Now, like Rob, I'm going to put everyone on the spot. Those of you who have never seen a coral reef in its natural habitat, can you put your hands up? And those of you online, you can also raise your virtual hands. If you have never seen a coral reef in its natural habitat, please put your hands up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, give yourself a round of applause. No one put up their hands, and I trust you, and I believe you. So give yourself a round of applause. Everybody here this morning has seen a coral reef in its natural habitat. So I assume you have either gone snorkeling, or you dive, or you went swimming, and you saw it in its natural habitat. Right, Liz? Okay. All right. So our next speaker represents an organization that has been doing amazing work in Jamaica and is TNC's Jamaica partner for CoralCarib. The Alligator Head Foundation is a not-for-profit, non-government organization located in East Portland, Jamaica. Legally gazetted in July 2016, the Alligator Head Foundation works for fish-filled oceans, healthy reefs, and thriving communities. The foundation was established to manage and support the East Portland Special Fisheries Conservation Area. Here to bring us greetings on behalf of the CoralCarib Consortium partners is Ms. Nikki Myers, General Manager, Alligator Head Foundation. Welcome, Nikki, please, ladies and gentlemen.
Namaste. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much. I bring greetings on behalf of the patron, founder, and the board of the Alligator Head Foundation and our team. We are overly excited to be a part of this absolutely marine space shattering project for several reasons. The Alligator Head Foundation has a community-driven model, and so we get very excited about collaboration because at the state that we're in with the considerations that have to be made, we cannot do this alone. And so this is one of the reasons why we are so excited about this, because everything that is required is not found in one space or with one organization. And so it is with gratitude and with a lot of joy that we are here today to say thank you and to bring greetings on behalf of the organization as we are the implementing partner. We're excited to be doing this with our fellow Caribbean partners. We are excited and thankful for the choice to invest this money at the space where the German government has decided to, recognizing the urgency and the need. TNC, with all the expertise and all the experience in dealing with all the challenges and surmounting everything that needs to be done, we know that we're exactly positioned and placed in the right place to continue the work that we have started as a member of the Fish Sanctuary Network of Jamaica, already doing some work on the island to be able to move this forward with the support, the urgency, the speed, and with the resources needed to move us in the direction that we need to go. So thank you very much again on behalf of the Alligator Head Foundation, and we are raring and ready to go. Namaste.
Thank you very much, Ms. Myers. And again, I'm going to give you a quotation from Mr. John McManus, and he says, "Coral reefs are the most biodiverse of all unknown marine ecosystems and maintain much higher genetic diversity than tropical rainforests." I'm not going to argue with that, and I'm sure my forestry officials probably won't either. Any good idea needs support to bring it to fruition, and projects such as CoralCarib are no exception. The International Climate Initiative, ICI, in the Federal Ministry for the Environment, Nature Conservation, Nuclear Safety, and Consumer Protection, has a strong record of supporting projects in the Caribbean. In fact, ICI, as we refer to it, supported the Resilient Islands project, of which Jamaica, Grenada, and the Dominican Republic were the beneficiary countries. And the German government has shown its support to the region once more by providing significant support to the CoralCarib project. Representing the German government today is His Excellency Jan-Hendrik van Thiel, German ambassador to Jamaica. Ambassador van Thiel has had a long and distinguished diplomatic career with the German diplomatic service. After pursuing diplomatic training in 1995 to 1996, he completed assignments in Athens, Greece, in Harare, Zimbabwe, Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, Afghanistan, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, just to name a few. His Excellency has been the ambassador to Kingston, Jamaica, from January this year. We welcome you to bring your remarks. Put your hands together and welcome His Excellency.
Thank you very much for this kind introduction, and thank you for not going through all the postings. In the same vein of efficiency and time management, I would like to greet the Senator, the Honorable Matthew Samuda, and all others by excellencies, partners, friends, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol reserved. I brought my glasses just in case I forget the remarks I wanted to make, because I cannot read my handwriting. So just let me put it a little bit, this wonderful project, which was so eloquently explained to you by the previous speakers, put it a little bit in the German government perspective of what we are doing. The situation is dire. I don't say anything new here, but it's in the news every day. The glaciers are melting, the temperatures are rising, not only in the air, but also in the sea. The weather patterns getting erratic. We are in a reaction mood all the time, and also the sea's getting warmer, the coral reefs are bleaching. We got the figures here, 60% of the Caribbean reefs are among the 4 countries of this project, but also, if I got your information right, 60% of the Caribbean coral reefs are in high stress and need urgent intervention. So it's time, of course, for climate diplomacy. You will not find a diplomat who will not say diplomacy is important. We are very much appreciative of the Jamaican contributions, which are highly regarded in the international sphere. Climate diplomacy will go on this year. We will have in November, December in the United Arab Emirates, the 28th COP. But what I just described before is not only a diplomatic issue. It's not time to sign declarations, to sign this. It's important, but now it's time for action. And now I will explain a little bit to you where the German government is in terms of action. We have a national climate initiative, which is not a topic today. We have an international climate initiative since the year 2008. This international climate initiative, there is a little bit, it's a bit broader than that. We have 3 ministries, actually, 3 line ministries, and it's an initiative of the federal government. Let's say just Germany to make it quick and easy. Since 2008, we have funded 800 projects in 150 countries, mobilizing up to now $5 billion euros, which is a little bit more in US dollars, 5.5 billion. So that is the global picture. The funds are increasing every year. We have started in 2009 with 120 million. We are now at 710 million. That shows also the urgency. We need to get good projects like this one. Just to put the global a little bit in the region, up to now, in projects where Jamaica took part, we have invested 109 million US dollars. We have 14 projects in Jamaica, of which 9 are ongoing. So this is one of 9 ongoing projects. That is not the engagement of Germany. This is much bigger than that. Having said that, I would invite all of you, Jamaicans and regions in the Caribbean, to put forward project proposals, to enter into dialogue with us, because there will be more money to come, and we want this money to go to those countries and to those regions like the Caribbean, which are most affected by climate change and who need our engagement most. So please don't look at it as a one-time thing here today. It's nice that we meet, it's nice that we celebrate this project, but it's a project in a much larger context. So why did we choose, as a German government, this one to support? There are many good reasons. I could put it in one sentence. It is addressing the issue in a holistic way. What do I mean by that? Some of the aspects were already put forward. It's a regional project. It's looking at the problem as such, the degradation of coral reefs, and addressing it in the appropriate framework, a regional framework. It's a challenging one, politically speaking. For a diplomat, it's fascinating to see these consortium of 4 countries coming together, which are quite diverse, politically speaking, and all, mobilizing 6 agencies, as you said, in these countries, and then adding plus, I think, if I understood your papers right, Belize. So it makes it even larger. That is in itself a core value. This project is standing on the really addressing an issue in its reality and not in some political boundaries. So that is very positive, and we very much acknowledge that. The project looks at first glance perhaps not that big, 1,871 hectares. But the scientists told me that is the minimum. That is what is a direct impact. But the corals, you might know much better than me, the experts, the scientists tell me, the corals are living. So if there's 1,871 hectares we can restore, we can revive, they will spread. So the actual area which will be covered will be much bigger. So I think that is also important. Another aspect which is important for us, politically speaking again, you touched upon it as well, it's embedded in Jamaican politics. It's embedded in the national strategies. So I'm very happy that the Senator, the Honorable Minister, found the time to greet us today, because for us it's also important that we have a common approach, that the government, the agency, the civil society, everybody is pushing in the same direction. And last but certainly not least, this project is highly beneficial to the people. Some may say, hey, this is like for me, I'm a diver, this is for the divers. They have some fun and some tourists are coming, but it's not benefiting me. It is much too short. I'm believing the figures which we are giving by our American friends here. 850 million $850,000 a year per square kilometer of ecosystem is the benefits in services given by tourism, recreation, coastal protection, fisheries to the communities living adjacent to this area. This is money. Now do your mathematics. I was always a bad mathematician in school, sorry for that, but I tried. So if you take only the 1,871 hectares, that should give you a year something around $16 million a year for an investing of 6.35 million. If that is not a good investment, I don't know what is a good investment. And this goes to the people. So at the end of the day, we are very happy that we can fund this project. We hope we will fund more of this kind of international, integrated, holistic approaches. And thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Ambassador, and we look forward to the continued support and collaboration with the German government and, of course, IKI. Without the collaboration and support of governments, the work of the Nature Conservancy and its partners is virtually impossible. Senator, the Honorable Matthew Samuda, Minister, is here today representing the government of Jamaica. Senator Samuda currently serves as Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. He is assigned portfolio responsibilities for water, environment, climate change, and the blue and green economies. Over the years, Senator Samuda has been an advocate for environmental preservation and protection. In 2016, he led the tabling of a private member's motion in the Jamaican Parliament, which resulted in the ban on single-use plastics and styrofoam in 2019. I think you should clap him for that. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Senator Samuda.
I think I will follow the example of His Excellency Jean Hendricks and say, Excellencies, friends of the ocean, Jamaicans, friends of Jamaica, good to see you all this morning. The ladies and gentlemen who have joined us here at the Pegasus and even those who have joined us online understand the importance of this project. The importance of a launch of this nature of an important regional initiative dubbed the CoralCarib project is yet another opportunity to highlight the urgent need to restore degraded marine ecosystems within the Caribbean region, particularly our coral reefs, so that they can provide the functions and services that are critical to the lives and livelihoods of small island developing states such as Jamaica. Indeed, the CoralCarib launch has come at an opportune time, as the global community continues to observe the United Nations Decade on Ecosystem Restoration, as well as the recently adopted Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework under the Convention on Biological Diversity, the CBD. The objectives of the CoralCarib are also aligned with one of 10 identified flagship initiatives under the UNDER, That is, the scaling up of ridge to reef restoration of unique ecosystems in 3 SIDS, namely St. Lucia, Vanuatu, and Comoros. This flagship initiative is anticipated to result in approximately 113,000 hectares of coastal and marine environments being restored. Hence, it will be important that there is cross-fertilization as well as the sharing of best practices and scientific and technical expertise between CoralCarib and the UN flagship initiative. As a party to the CBD, and indeed as a member of the High Ambition Coalition, Jamaica is required to establish and implement national targets which are aligned to the global targets under the GBF. Of note is Target 2 of the framework, which requires parties to ensure that by 2030, at least 30% of areas degraded 30% areas of degraded terrestrial inland water and coastal marine ecosystems are under effective protection, or rather are under effective restoration in order to enhance biodiversity and ecosystem functions and services ecological integrity and connectivity. Beyond that, the other goal is to protect 30% of both our land mass and indeed our ocean space. Jamaica will hit the protection targets of land mass by 2025 rather. NEPA, an agency of MECJC, has been monitoring the health of the island's coral reef structures for the last 10 years. Unfortunately, something that we all know, the island's coral reef structures have been consistently ranked as poor over these years. The agency has attributed this poor rating to a number of factors, namely climate change, overexploitation of marine resources, coastal pollution, extensive coastal modification projects with large-scale disturbances which have had an adverse impact on our coral reef cover. More recently, a disease dubbed the stony coral tissue loss disease has resulted in the death of coral colonies in a matter of weeks. Given the importance of coral reefs in mitigating the effects of climate change, for food security, for poverty reduction, for economic growth and development, and indeed environmental sustainability, it is imperative that there is a whole of society approach to the conservation of the island's marine and coastal ecosystems, including our coral reefs. As I entered and I was exchanging views with colleagues earlier, I made the point that an initiative such as this is absolutely critical, but it's absolutely critical that it happens in parallel with other government initiatives which are underway. The point made in the reports which come from NEPA about coastal pollution cannot be lost on us. It is why the government has prioritized significant investment over the next 7 years into our sewage systems. We will be upgrading the Soapberry plant and doubling its capacity, as well as significantly increasing the connectivity to that plant. Now that will have an impact on our water table, but it will certainly have an impact on our coastal ecosystems in this area. We are also in the process of putting together a major upgrade program for many of our major townships. There's no way to improve sewage and not improve the quality of your marine environment. The other initiative that I think colleagues who are here in person and joining us online that we should be aware of is the intended and articulated program from the Prime Minister to launch a waste-to-energy initiative. It's no secret and impatient of debate that Jamaica has not done particularly well in managing its solid waste. It is our expectation that this blended finance option of sorts will significantly improve our capacity to deal with our solid waste issues. So no doubt these initiatives will work in parallel and benefit the health of our coral reefs. The government is required and indeed a willing partner in ensuring that there's an enabling framework to support the conservation and management of our natural ecosystems, which will no doubt aid in enhancing the country's climate resilience, but as well support the government's efforts to promote a sustainable blue economy. In embracing the blue economy, the government seeks to integrate key concepts such as heritage and cultural identity, environmental sustainability, social equity, and economic growth for the benefit of present and future generations of Jamaicans. To combat the drivers that have contributed to the decline in the island's coral reef health, the government has undertaken a number of initiatives to deal with the regulatory framework. Recently, we would have launched our climate change policy framework, and it has been approved and tabled in the Parliament. Implementation of the policy framework will begin in earnest. It also has a sister policy which has also been tabled in the Parliament, and implementation has started which is related to the emissions framework. Now, Jamaica also has an update and is working on its national oceans and coastal zone management policy, which will no doubt bring the varying arms of the state and indeed private individuals into a cohesive framework to ensure that projects like this indeed work and it becomes a natural way of us doing things as opposed to requiring a single project to address issues. MECJC is already working on an updated and amended Wildlife Protection Act and indeed an updated NRCA Act, which we all know in this room requires significant amendment if it is to fight and face the modern challenges that we face. We're working on the development and implementation of an action plan for corals and reefs that would have started in 2018. This is being led by NEPA and no doubt will interact very heavily with this project. The technical and scientific capacity of key public sector agencies, including NEPA and the Veterinary Services Division, is continually being built to allow for increased cadre of persons to support the monitoring of our reef health and indeed to ensure that we monitor and fight the stony coral tissue issue where possible. The Most Honorable Prime Minister in his recent budget presentation announced the declaration of 2 new protected areas, which included the Black River Protected Area and indeed the Pedro Keys and surrounding waters protected area. With the addition of these 2 marine protected areas, we have gotten to 15% of our EEZ being protected. There is a long way to go and we know the issues associated with ocean spatial management, but we are working hard to ensure that we meet our 2030 targets in protection of our marine environment. Jamaica is a member of a number of critical regional and international bodies where we interact with our friends of the German government and indeed with our neighbors. One that I think that should be known to this group is indeed the Caribbean Biodiversity Corridor. That involves Puerto Rico, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Jamaica, and Cuba. And it has created a framework for collaboration and partnership on environmental issues and indeed for projects such as this. So I expect that that will also benefit the implementation phase of this project. The CoralCarib project will complement the measures of the government and will ensure that we are pursuing adequate conservation of the island's marine and coastal ecosystems, especially our coral reefs. In this regard, Jamaica is pleased to be one of the participating countries in what I deem to be an extremely important regional initiative. The ministry and its agencies, particularly the National Environment and Planning Agency, will continue to support the project and ensure its success. We are also anxious to learn of the outcome of the new innovative approach being taken under the CoralCarib to identify and prioritize coral climate refugia in the restoration of coral reef habitats. We believe this is a critical step. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there is no illusion that climate change is indeed playing a major role in damaging our coral reefs and indeed the coral reefs globally. Jamaica continues to advocate for nations to stick to the targets that they have set in their mitigation efforts. We continue to advocate actively for appropriate adaptation funds to be made available to small island developing states and indeed all developing nations. And in this regard, I congratulate and thank the German government for their continued partnership in this area. Jamaica has blessings and challenges because of how we have managed our affairs over the last few years. The middle income designation hurts Jamaica's ability to raise financing, and we thank the German government for not using that against many developing nations in your ICI initiative and others that we think have been critical. But there's another issue that Jamaica faces, which in accessing financing for projects like this that deal with the issue of protection and deal with the issue of restoration, Jamaica's success in many ways becomes a curse. Now, a point that is made often by our Minister of Finance, the Honorable Dr. Nigel Clark, is that you're the only country in the hemisphere that can say a few things. Coming out of COVID, you're the only country that can say your debt level is below where it was pre-COVID, while saying that you didn't lay off a single civil servant, while also ensuring that you've completed your reclassification exercise, which has resulted in a significant net increase in salaries being paid, while also saying that your budget has increased, your debt to GDP is going in a particular direction, while paying down quite a bit of your significantly toxic debt. So some of the financing options that are available to other small island developing states are not available to Jamaica in the same way. The debt for nature type swaps require a deep dive if we're going to look at how we're going to do that, because most of Jamaica's debt is not held by international partners. We don't have some of the same options in the same way that others do. Now, we have readied our financial sector, and the team at CCD and PIOJ have been working with the stock exchange, with the Bank of Jamaica, to ensure the greening of their operations. We are in a place to explore significantly and quickly blue and green bonds. We are, and we're happy to be in that space, and we will. The question is going to be, to what end? And I think projects like this create a sustainable route, a credible sustainable route that shows what you use such funds for. And I think these are the sorts of projects that the government of Jamaica should continue to get behind. It's the sort of project that we should explain to our citizens. We shouldn't be shy about saying the benefits of this project. And if we're truly going to have a blue economy that is vibrant, we're going to need a blue society. And in building a blue society, projects like this will indeed help. So I thank all the stakeholders who are involved. I thank you for the opportunity to address you this morning, and I look forward to further partnership.
Thank you so much, Senator Samuda, and we are so happy to hear of all of the initiatives being implemented by the government of Jamaica to protect and preserve the environment here as well. And we look forward to continued collaboration with the government of Jamaica. And of course, our local TNC office will play a critical role in that. It is said that a thankful heart is not only the greatest virtue, but the parent of all virtues, and that is credited to Cicero. And to this end, we want to show our virtues. TNC's Program Director for Jamaica, Donna Blake, will offer words of gratitude. Donna leads the Nature Conservancy program team in Jamaica, where she focuses on oversight and implementation of conservation projects and general management of our programs in Jamaica. Her career includes 10 years at the Ministry of the Environment as Director of Natural Resources. Donna joined the TNC in February 2007 as a Senior Policy Advisor and was promoted to Jamaica Program Director in 2009. Please welcome Donna Blake to the lectern.
Good morning. Senator the Honorable Matthew Samuda, Minister without Portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. His Excellency Ambassador Van Thiel, Dr. Rob Brumbaugh, Mrs. Shanique Smith, Mrs. Nicola Madden-Gregg, Ms. Nikki Myers, Dr. Tina Dona, representative of the CoralCarib Consortium partners, senior government officials, specially invited guests, and the CoralCarib project management team and the staff of the Nature Conservancy. I greet you all. So my name is Donna. I work at the Jamaica office of the Nature Conservancy, and my task, my pleasure, is to bring to give you thanks this morning for being here. I would start with thanking our speakers. I offer sincere thanks to Ambassador His Excellency Van Thiel for explaining the German government's position, understanding the urgency and their significant investment in the region, and also for the trust and the partnership that we will have going forward with our consortium partners. So thank you so very much. Senator Samuda is a friend to the environment and nature, was sharing with us the initiatives of sewage and solid waste, among others, which are comparable to the CoralCarib project. We thank you so much for your remarks, sir, and look forward to continuing the partnership with the MECJC and the entities like the Climate Change Division and NEPA, who you mentioned many times. We are, should I say, I think Cleveland said at the beginning that we partner, that's what we do. The Nature Conservancy is very strong on partnership, and it's part of our ethos, the way we do things. And so continuing to partner with all of you here, particularly with the government, is a critical way that we'll be successful with implementing this project. So, Dr. Brumbaugh, thank you so much for your inspiring and fact-filled presentation, your opening remarks. Ms. Myers, namaste. Thank you on behalf of speaking on behalf of the Alligator Head Foundation, the CoralCarib Consortium partners. And of course, Dr. Sam, a true a pan-Caribbean man, I'm going to call you, sir, for your skills at MC this evening. And of course, we have here some very, very important people without whom there would be no project, and that's our consortium partners who are in the audience. As I said, without you, there is no project. You are a critical success factor. I thank you so much for joining with us, for partnering with us, for being here today and for the next couple of days. Sincerely thank the consortium partners for getting here. We were talking earlier about how many of you we have never seen. We've Zoomed and developed this project over a number of years. We have not met, but we've developed trust and built relationships through that time, throughout COVID and before, to get to where we are today, which is the launch of this important project. Other honored guests, thank you all for choosing to be here with us today. We know, we know you have choices. You hear that on the airline. You know you have choices. Thank you for choosing to be here with us today. It really is important. Many times people these days are like, is there a link? Can I join by Zoom? But you chose to come here and join us today, and I do sincerely thank you for your time. And I would be remiss if I didn't point out some key people who are, I would say, somewhat in the background. Not so much Max. Max, our erstwhile project manager for CoralCarib. Thank you so much, Max, leading us here. Dr. Liz Shaver. Thank you so much, our technical guidance. But then we have some other, those hardworking souls who come and do the things that are the real work of bringing us all here together. I'm going to call them out in no specific order. Each one of them is terribly important. Some of them are outside. Mrs. Anna Banks-Chin, Gina Marie Maddox, Tanya Dunkley, and the rest of the Jamaica staff. I thank you so much. As I said, without them, there would be no event today. And of course, thank you to our live stream company, the gracious host of the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel, and our relationship manager. I thank you so very much. Please enjoy the rest of your day and join us after for our small gathering coffee break. Thank you.
Well, all that's left for me to do is to thank Donna for doing such a good job at thanking everyone else. However, before we bring the session to a close, I would like to call our project lead, Max, to the lectern. And we're going to continue in the spirit of gratitude, as we would like to express our gratitude to some of our specially invited guests. So I would like to call first Senator Samuda, if you would just come on the stage to receive a token of our appreciation for your participation this morning. All right. Thank you very much. I would like to call His Excellency as well, Ambassador. I would like to call Honorable Audrey Sewell. She's not here. All right. I would like to call our guest, Nikki Maz, as well. And I'd also like to call the Minister's Special Advisor, Mr. Clayhan Williams, as well, if you would join us for an expression of our appreciation to you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Max. Max, as we said, is the project lead for, project manager for CoralCarib. For our persons who are going to be staying on, I have a couple of announcements. There will be a 30-minute break before the commencement of the working session. If you have not signed the video waiver and photography forms, we would like to ensure that you sign those forms so that we can use your photographs and the videos in our future promotion of this project and other TNC-related activities. And then I know we had some photographs at the start, but we would like to take some additional photographs with our project consortium partners and some of our speakers as well. My colleague Claudia is going to be coordinating that with the photographers. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being such a graceful audience this morning, and we would like to bring this session to a close.